Alrighty, wanted to cover a video real quick about a further review about the move that we think is happening right now, what it'll look like, and how we try to make sure we don't get thrown off because the move is tricky. So this possible trade or this possible formation, I call it the Wonder Woman. It has a Wonder Woman type logo. Um, we're gonna go back in time. I've been using an analog from 2017. This was in November 2017 when we first broke through 10,000 for the first time. We used a Wonder Woman then to get through the 10,000 line. We're not quite yet at the $10,000 line, but I do believe that the Wonder Woman is being used right now in order to make this move happen. So let's take a look at what the Wonder Woman looks like. So just a little review here. Back in 2017, we were having the big run up, and of course BTC had been down here in the low thousands for the earlier part of the year, and then as the summer wore on, we got the 2,500, a lot of hype, and finally crossed 5,000. And really things got cooking after we broke through 5,000. After we broke through 5,000, we had a really big retrace, which was this one here. It lasted, as you can see here, from November the 8th all the way till November the 11th. So it was only 3 days. However, it was a large move, taking us from 7,700 all the way down to 5,400. And on a percentage basis, that retrace was approximately 29% or so. So 29% drawdown after the huge rally caught people by surprise. They thought for sure the rally was over. A lot of people did put a dampener on a lot of people's spirits, but it was only 3 days. It was very fast. And what occurred afterward was this massive rally that just immediately took out the existing high at 7,800 and then really just continued on through 10,000 and just beyond. I think that caught everybody by surprise, including myself. I really thought 10,000 was going to be a formidable line. It really wasn't. So how does that relate to where we are now? So no two charts are exactly the same, and specific isolated parts of a chart can be used to create a corollary in another chart. But it's really difficult to continue a corollary or a correlation between two charts that last a significant amount of time. So not trying to say the two situations are exactly the same. But what we had here is that after this big sell-off, when we began the next leg of the rally, the Wonder Woman was what was used to get through the 10,000 line. So let's take a look at what that looked like. And this is just really difficult for people to take a position on because it's so volatile. Usually happens in a little tiny scale intraday, but it's rare to see this on a multi-day or even multi-week type process. So the Wonder Woman, I'm going to go ahead and draw out the Wonder Woman so it makes more sense. So the Wonder Woman is the Wonder Woman logo. The Wonder Woman logo looks like this. There's the Wonder Woman logo. So in the chart formation, the Wonder Woman logo actually looks a little bit differently in the sense that this part is usually just a little lower. It's sort of like this. So here's your Wonder Woman. Perhaps this maybe kind of goes like that. So this is what the Wonder Woman looks like in a real chart formation. If you haven't been able to spot where the Wonder Woman is, well, it's right about here. Going to leave this up here. So the Wonder Woman usually begins from a large rally that goes sideways for just a second before having a flash. So you get the first part of the W here, and it drops down, and it comes back up, isn't able to retake the old high, and makes a new low that doesn't take out the old low, and then comes back up to approximately right before the flash, and then goes sideways. And so that finishes the Wonder Woman there. We're going to remove this. And so the volatility in this move, there's our Wonder Woman. Not so pretty. There's the original Wonder Woman. You can see the Wonder Woman. So the Wonder Woman, to recoup here with, or to recap with real data. So the first day of the Wonder Woman is just a violent sell-off. And we saw here this was a 30% retrace. I mean, it's just something really nasty. And these are 256 bars, 256 minute bars. So this is approximately 4 hours of time. So this is about 4 hours here, 4 hours here, about an 8 hour period. To remove 30% off of any market is pretty heavy. But you see what happens, it immediately climbs and regains a vast majority of this move. And let's take a look how much of that was regained. And these are the key parts that you can repeat and bring the corollary back. The exact numbers become difficult, but the proportions are not. So when the Wonder Woman comes back, it actually exceeds 62.5%, kind of tricks the individual into thinking perhaps that more is coming, but unfortunately it retraces back down. So the first move of the Wonder Woman, violent sell-off, and then it's more than 62.5% retrace, and it happens in just about the same amount of time. It is a little bit slower. So the retrace here, you can see, if you could say that it began here, took, however much long was left in this candle, perhaps 2 hours, then another 4 hours, then another 4 hours. So about 8, 9, 10. So in about the next 10 hours, the Wonder Woman recovers greatly. However, in the following slightly larger period of time, once again, things begin to slow down. Then you have another 1, 2, 3, 4 full 4 hour blocks. So that's 4 times 4, that's 16 hours. So you go from 8 hours to 12 hours to 16 hours. So it takes a little bit longer to finally sell off, and then when it does, we'll take another proportional retracement, and of course it moves from here, and when it retraces back, it does not make a new low, but again it exceeds the 62.5% retracement line. So both the reflection boxes on the way up and then on the way down, they get taken out. Causes a lot of confusion. A lot of algorithms are flip-flopping back and forth, trying to figure out exactly where the trend is going. Of course, the trend has been up, moving into this move, and then of course you'll see the trend continues. So the Wonder Woman is a continuation move. It is not an exhaustive move, it's a continuation move, but it certainly has the feeling of an exhaustive move with the violent sell-off that begins the move. So it can be very tricky, throws a lot of people off their game. I believe we're in the exact same position right now. We've just seen the first part, the left side of the W. We have the next 2 parts to go, and then the eventual continual rally and continuation move. So this is what I believe is going on. If something is going to be different, then we're going to know when it takes out the old low. So the old low that was set earlier today, we need that low to stand, or we don't have a Wonder Woman. We also wouldn't have a lot of things. We wouldn't continue to stay in the trend, and we also wouldn't be having a higher low. So most basic of chart formations there, you need a higher low in order to have a continuation of trends. So let's switch from the 2017 corollary over to the current time. Oh, before we leave, I also want to show one other correlation between these 2 periods. We were in this upward trend channel, and when we had the Wonder Woman begin, you can see that it went down to the 37.5% line. Now this reflection box is anchored to this high here, and let me darken that up just a little bit. So we were anchored to this line, and we can see that when we fell, we went right to the limit. We stayed in trend, and then the second higher low also stayed in trend, and we were right along the warning track inside the upper trim channel. Never violated it, so that was, you know, nice. And of course, we went down and retested the minimum retracement that we say for a wave count is 37.5%. So we got to 37.5% the second time. It didn't quite get there. Third time, you know, good gap, and then of course the wave continued on. So one of the telltale signs that when you're finishing the Wonder Woman is, of course, this part of the W. This is that telltale sign. If we finish this move and eventually start going sideways for quite a number of hours, longer than any of the sweeps that we had here, that will be the market contemplating the next move. And of course, this is the telltale sign. So if you see us breaking past the anchored reflection line midline, this is the hint that that part of the move is continuing on. And then of course it will go sideways, giving everybody and their mother a moment to get back on the trade. And of course that is absolutely intentional before the exchanges themselves and major players decide to finally stop shorting the market and stop putting downward pressure on the market, and then turn their positions around and of course help the market to go higher. So you'll see the Wonder Woman continues, and then of course it really took off after that. And it wasn't long after that that the market actually peaked in time. It was only about maybe 3 weeks later, but you can see it was very volatile as it completed the rest of this move. So let's bring it here to the forward now, to the future. And here is our current wave pattern in BTC. And this may look a good bit differently, but in general, here are the corollaries that we want to pull forward. So in an upward trend channel, of course, this trend channel goes much farther. There is a much larger trend channel that I'll map in just a second. I'll give you a brief look at what that looks like. That's here in blue. And so the final part here is in green. Let's take a look at that just in green there. And then of course the flash down here, not nearly as severe as the flash we just had. This one, or the one we were just looking at, this flash here is actually at its worst only 12%, so it's like a smaller Wonder Woman. And we did just briefly break out of the green upper trend channel and then regained it. So this could be said to be move one. Here's the 37.5% line. You can see that we violated it just briefly. The second time we came back to retest it. This is similar to what we saw here. Violated the first time. The second time we retested, we didn't. So this is what we hope to see here in the next couple of hours. And so this is the first part of the move. It comes on down. We expect now for this thing to really rally pretty hard. Now, how hard do we expect it to rally? We said that it would exceed the 62.5% line. So here would be that move in BTC. That would take us right here is the 62.5% line. This is 66.84. I'm going to move this arrow here just to highlight that area. We expect something to be in about approximately that range. And then if we had a move in that range, the following move we expect to also exceed 62.5% on the other way down. Consequently, that is the top of the Murray Math frame, or one of the Murray Math frames. That's Murray Math 7/8. And so this move might look something like this. We finish this rally to here, make a small, exceed it slightly, come down here, do the exact same, come up another time here, and this is the right side of the Wonder Woman. There's always a little hitch in it, then it continues forward, and then we have the sideways move right below, and then of course we continue on. So the Wonder Woman first leg is here. Huge volatile moves that confuse everybody as to whether or not the trend is deteriorating. We will be able to anchor this line here as a very straightforward stop loss. I'm going to put this here in red. That would be the stop loss there. I'm going to go ahead and put further point here. Put that in red. And of course, let's go ahead and slap a price line on that. 7986 should serve as your stop. If you see that this gets taken out, of course, we're going to be making the much larger move down here. Retrace all the way. That could go as low as 6250, but could also be contained at 7500. Either way, the much longer move that we discussed a few days ago could be in play. But I don't believe that's what's going to happen. I think we're going to have this Wonder Woman. We've already violated the 7/8 line. We did it on the way up. We have all this structure behind us. Right now, we hope to, we squeezed a little bit below this structure, so that wasn't ideal. I'll admit it worries me a little bit that we got any wave action at all underneath all of this structure. It would have been nice if we kept it all above it like it is here. But if we could maintain that tomorrow and the following day, we'll be, be able to sort of repair that part of the chart and continue on with the Wonder Woman. And then, of course, our next battle will be happening somewhere here around the 10,000 line. But as I've been saying, I believe we're actually going to blast right through the 10,000 line. I believe the battle at BTC is happening early. It's happening right here. And if we can get past this area of conflict, we'll end up having a great finish. So longer video than normal. Sorry to get into so much detail. Just kind of really wanted to hammer out what we need to be careful for. So our signals are going to be number one. If we take out 7986, make a new low, we want to go ahead and get out of any long trades and just have an automatic stop there. And then again, we expect to see taking out the 62.5 retracement line, but definitely not making a new high in this move. Then doing the same thing in reverse, and then finally finding ourselves to going into a sideways W print pattern right to the left or right to the right of the old high. The old high currently sits at 9100, and we know from a different chart, let's see if we can pull this up here, that sorry, I do not have that chart ready for you guys. Let's not go there. So anyhow, that's what we expect to see. Hope that makes sense, and good luck with your trading.